Hi, I'm Larry. Welcome to this week's edition of Wellness Made Easy. On today's podcast, we're going to talk today with Dr. Bob Martin about the pharmaceutical problem in America today. It's become the number one leading cause of death in America, and painkillers are leading the pack. We're here to talk about that and how there are natural solutions, Noni juice, that can really help solve this problem. Enjoy the show today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment. Thank you.
And I welcome you back to this hour of the Dr. Bob Martin Show. We thank you for tuning into the program and telling everybody you know to do the very same thing so they too could enjoy improved health naturally. All right, let's turn our attention to our special guest. As you know, I started out this hour talking about this very troubling headline, prescription medical drugs, leading cause of death in America. I don't want it to be. I want it to be the least cause of death in America because we do need prescription drugs when they are appropriate. And so often is the case, they're not appropriate. They're used excessively. Look at what's going on with antibiotic resistance and all the people who are being hospitalized as a result of taking drugs when they ought not be taking those drugs, but they do so because they don't have no other options. We want you to know about options, safe and effective options in non-life-threatening conditions. Yes, if you've got an emergency, you call 911, you get an ambulance, you go to the emergency room, they save lives that way. But when so many of these benign, self-limiting conditions can be handled gently and kindly with other techniques and tools and healing modalities, that's what you should know. That's what this show is dedicated to. That's why we've been in syndication for 28 years and are growing like mad. So I recruited a guest to discuss this very issue. His name is Larry Logsdon. He is a functional food researcher because food, ladies and gentlemen, is the medicine that we need most of the time. Larry's a functional food researcher, chemist, specializing in the medicinal properties and benefits of exotic fruits like Noni. Larry founded Tahiti Trader in 1998. Tahiti Trader manufactures and distributes Noni juices throughout the U.S. and internationally. I want to welcome back to the program. Good day to you, Larry.
Good morning, Dr. Bob. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well, and I'm excited for you to discuss with us how safely and effectively our listeners who are experiencing achy, breaky joints, stiff muscles, sore muscles, and arthritis and chronic pain, how they can help themselves safely and naturally without risky drugs. That's our mission today, Larry. Don't choke. And I want you to take it to the hoop. I know you can do it. You've done it before. And most Americans, Larry, you know, in a lifetime will view hundreds of thousands of television commercials suggesting that the only option they have are pharmaceutical drugs for the treatment of pain and arthritis, and then, 15 seconds into the commercial, they have to hear the disclaimer about how they may die, how they may get tumors, how their condition may get worsened as a result of the very drugs they're taking for the conditions they're listening for it. So I want us to start off with the conversation of how many Americans, can you tell us, are suffering with pain and arthritis today in America?
Well, Dr. Bob, it's more than 20%, 21.2 according to CDC, and that's a conservative number because that's a number that is reported. That doesn't mean there's a lot of people that don't report that they've got, joint pain. So it's quite a number of people. And these folks watch those television commercials, which you and I didn't have when we were growing up. So no wonder we weren't using those drugs. And then they go out and they take those drugs from over the counter. And next thing you know, they find themselves with stomach problems and all kinds of other bleeding issues, and sometimes even heart attacks from taking the very pain relievers they thought was going to help them.
And we're not here, ladies and gentlemen, to bash drugs. I mean, these drugs come in handy. They come in handy. If you've got an emergency situation, let's say, just as an example, I had somebody call me one time. He said, look, Dr. Bob, I am in a lot of pain, and I have one of the most important meetings tomorrow with my boss and boards of directors. I'm in pain, And I would like to know that there would be an alternative to the pain that I'm having. But you know what? I'm thinking about taking a drug. And I told this guy, hey, look, if that's what you want to do, take the drug to get to that meeting tomorrow. But after you get done with the drug and you get through the meeting, let's answer the question, how can you treat yourself safely and naturally so you don't have to take a drug, so you don't create another problem on the one you already have?
Well, that's the bottom line, if you want to know the truth, is that these drugs are here for one reason, and that's because they're selling the whole idea that there's an easy, immediate answer to your so-and-so problem. The reality of it is there has been a decline in a person's health condition which allowed this to occur in the first place.
Mm-hmm. All right, what is the most common form of arthritis that Americans, Larry, are suffering with today?
Well, it's mostly osteoarthritis. It's the kind of thing where the joints are sore, they've gotten inflamed because they're sore, and that creates more pain, and pretty soon people are walking like stiff people. And this is the number one, I would say.
Larry, a lot of people, they figure, well, look, I can walk into any drugstore and buy this stuff. It must be safe. I mean, if it weren't safe, why would I be able to, or anybody for that matter, go in and pull down some Tylenol, pull down some Motrin, pull down some Aleve off the shelf and start taking it? I hear that it's safe and effective. My doctor is on board with it, so why should I even bother to worry about the risks associated with it?
Well, mostly because what they're telling you just simply isn't true. It just isn't. I mean, it causes, many of these have so many side effects, whether they cause liver damage or internal bleeding, which is very common amongst those drugs. And if they're used occasionally, that's the key, it's probably okay. But they don't plan on people taking these forever and ever and ever. But people do because they think, well, it worked this last time, I'll use it again. Next thing you know, over time, they're taking a handful of these every day. And therein lies a problem.
Well, I know that the human body has its own drugs. I mean, we make almost a veritable pharmacy of drugs within our bodies, but when acute events occur, traumas, injuries that we didn't plan, strains, sprains, whiplash accidents, falls, accidents, when those things happen, excuse me, and people are in distress and in pain, they don't have time to bring themselves up to speed on what they can do at the level of the health food store to try to manage their pain. They're going to go to wherever it takes or do whatever it takes to get the relief they need in the pain.
That's true.
Really those are not the people we're talking about. I'm talking about people who have chronic problems here, ladies and gentlemen, ongoing problems for which drugs were never, ever designed to be taken on a long-term basis. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. We're going to get into some safe and natural ways to manage these things when we come back. I'm Dr. Bob Martin. Are you tired of crazy blood sugar and blood pressure numbers? Dr. Bob Martin here. Listen to this true story.
I was diagnosed with type 1 juvenile diabetes when I was 7 years old. I grew up taking insulin. I was having some problems with my physical health, so I thought, you know what, I need to try Noni juice. Then I came across Tahitian Trader, gave it a shot, and I noticed the health benefits immediately because it's helped decrease my blood sugar levels. It's helped maintain a healthy blood pressure. So I have used Noni juice ever since.
Tahiti Trader's Noni can help you enjoy healthy blood sugar and blood pressure levels. Noni is the amazing adaptogen. Noni can help your body heal, manage stress, and increase your energy and stamina. Noni is the foundation of wellness. Drink Tahiti Trader's Noni juice and share your story. Available at GNC, Vitamin Shop, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, and fine health food stores. 800-842-5309 or TahitiTrader.com. And I welcome you back to this hour of the Dr. Bob Martin Show. Thank you so much for tuning into the program. Keep in mind that next hour we're going to have for you our special features, the health alternative of the week, health outrage of the week. We've got a product recall to tell you about and the health mystery of the week and a ton of other news. Stick around. This hour, however, we're discussing how to safely and effectively reduce joint pain, joint stiffness, muscle pain, muscle stiffness for people who are plagued by these kinds of cyclical pains that they have, and they are unfortunately turning to either over-the-counter or prescription drugs that will harm them in the end more so than the very condition that they're having. We've asked a special guest to join us on the show today, Larry Logsdon, a functional food researcher and chemist specializing in the medicinal properties and the benefits of exotic fruits, because we know that in nature's like a pharmacy. Mm-hmm. There are things in nature that we find, and that's the whole purpose of so many drugs on the market today, found in nature and then reproduced synthetically. That's the idea. They understand this. But here we are talking about safe and effective alternatives to prescription and non-prescription drugs in those people who care not to want to dump these synthetic pharmaceutical petrochemicals into their body and suffer the long-term or short-term damage that they incite. And Larry is here with us discussing just that with us. Conversation we go. Larry, since arthritis is often mistaken for these acute injuries that I mentioned, like strains and sprains, can you describe what are some of the true signs and symptoms of arthritis that people can recognize so that we can then offer up to them shortly here some of the options that exist so that they can relieve their own pain without having to take these risky drugs?
Well, the big one is, you'll find that the joints are tender, and you have reduced a range of motion and function. You find that your energy's lower. You don't feel good. These are things that tell you that you have a lot of inflammation going on, and that usually tells you you've got some kind of arthritis.
Mm-hmm. All right. And is there a specific, a gender that suffers more with aches and pains and joint stiffness, joint pain, muscle pain more? Is it more female or more male-oriented, or is it just across the board?
Well, I would say it's across the board, but actually, unfortunately, the gals, the females, are usually more apt to get this.
Okay, now that's interesting. Why do, Larry, some people suffer with arthritis? You hear this all the time. There are people who are complaining of arthritis in their 40s and 50s, and then there are other people who are out playing tennis and pickleball and traveling the world in their 70s that don't suffer from arthritis or these achy-breaky joint problems or muscle problems.
Well, the answer to that one is actually really simple. The people that are really active and out there doing things and living their lives are also the same people that have a very balanced diet. They have really good foods in their diet and not many drugs. And the reason for this is simple. The body wants to heal itself, wants to fix itself, but it does it by everything happens in the gut. The gut is where all these chemicals are manufactured, and drinking something like Noni helps that body produce more of endorphins and serotonins and all the things that your body needs to regulate properly so you can live a good life. And this is what's missing in so many people's lives. They're eating drive-through foods, prepared foods that are just warmed up in a microwave and getting all the microplastics from all that, which all foul up to your body's ability to do what it's trying to do, folks. It's trying to heal itself.
It's so true, and we've been talking about those microplastics in our environment, in our food supply, in our water supply. We've been talking about it, trying to inform people about it here on this radio show so they know what the heck it's all about and what some of their maladies and infirmities could be caused by. Nobody's even addressing that because it's just now coming to the consciousness with all this technological advanced ways of actually measuring these things in our water supply. Most people just, Larry, when they think of arthritis, they think of it, it's an old age disease. But like I said, there are people in their 30s and 40s now being diagnosed with arthritis. And then the next thing that happens are prescription drugs. That's what medicine does. It manages the problem. It doesn't address some of the underlying lifestyle medicine things that they could be employing to do to help themselves out. Just doesn't really go there. It's not a preventive system we have. It's a crisis management system. Fix it when it breaks, and then come back when you're broken again, and I'll give you something to numb you, but I won't tell you what to do to actually resolve the problem, which is really terrible in my opinion. And most people are finally waking up to this, and they're looking for alternatives which they find on this radio show and others like it throughout the United States and on the internet with Dr. Google and podcasts and other people who are out there trying to spread the good word. And Larry, we so appreciate you doing the very same thing with making sure that people are educated about the fact that nature, once again, comes through with these natural medicines. We just have to discover them, know what they're about, find out how to get our hands on them, start using them, and sure enough, those foods become our medicines. And that leads me to the story of Noni, and how in the heck did you get involved in that, and why is it that today you're such a fervent advocate of using this for pain and inflammation for people who have arthritis and other chronic health problems?
Well, I grew up in the health food business. My dad was a PharmD, a doctor of pharmacy, and his dad was an osteopath. And the reality we found was that the drug route was just a Band-Aid, and it actually wasn't helping people get well. So Dad started formulating, just like his father did, and helping practitioners improve the health of their patients. It's real simple. And then I was working, of course, with my dad, and we got a call one day from a group up in Salt Lake City that wanted to have a Noni juice product made, and we simply said, "What is it?" Didn't know what it was, and it wasn't very long before we figured it out, and we started doing these products in the early 90s. And this is during a time when nobody really saw any advertising on television for drugs. They weren't on TV until in 2000s at some point. So then all of a sudden, when that started to happen, people started going to Noni juice as a solution for their problems, because it actually allows your body to heal. And that's the name of the game. You have to heal your body. The drug doesn't do that stuff. It just puts a Band-Aid on it.
This might be brand new information to people who are hearing it for the very first time, that you can actually consume or drink a fruit juice, Tahiti Trader Noni, N-O-N-I, Noni juice, found at find your health food stores nationwide. We're talking, folks, this stuff is accessible. GNC stores, Vitamin Shop, Sprouts, Whole Foods, Amazon.com, TahitiTrader.com. But it's not new. This is not new. Islanders in the South Pacific have been using Noni fruit and Noni juice, fermented and otherwise, for thousands of years to help heal their ailments because they didn't have drugs. We'll get back into this after the break. I'm Dr. Bob Martin. Well, you're tuned into the largest radio health talk show in America, thanks to you in large part. And we so appreciate you being here today to drop in to listen to our special guest, Larry Logsdon, who is a functional food researcher and chemist specializing in the medicinal properties and benefits of exotic fruits. And we're honing in on one of the most therapeutic fruits known to man, called Noni juice, Tahiti Trader Noni juice, and its ability to reduce pain and inflammation in the human body. Many people are interested in this because if they had an option to get them away from the liver cell destroying acetaminophen every day, i.e. Tylenol and over 100 products that have that ingredient in it, or to reduce their exposure to ibuprofen, which increases the risk of heart attack and strokes and bleeding and kidney damage, the list goes on, or Aleve, same category, naproxen, or aspirin. Every single aspirin you take, whether it be a baby aspirin or a whole aspirin, you're bleeding somewhere in your GI tract. I get it. Pain is something we don't like. We don't function well with pain, and we want to find ways to get out of it. And Larry is helping us to understand that there is in nature a way to address these things. But I'm sure as a consumer, you're probably wondering, well, how could it be if my doctor's not telling me about Tahiti Trader Noni juice and they're handing me a prescription? Why doesn't my doctor know about this? And that's exactly what I want to ask Larry Logsdon as we enter back into the show. Larry, are there really scientific literature available that you can convince people with? Are there known science behind what causes Tahiti Trader Noni juice to reduce pain and inflammation so that people can get what they need, the relief from the joints, from the achy, breaky joints, and the pain that they're suffering from?
Absolutely. Noni has more than 775 studies conducted that we could find, and there are more. And by the way, folks, vitamin C has about 50. So this is huge. And most of the studies that the drug companies run are all skewed in order that they can make the claims that they want to make. Are they true or not? Well, the reality is that in this case here, God created this thing, Noni fruit. I didn't create it, He did. And it contains more than 160 unique compounds that are not found in any other fruit. And what they do is they help heal your gut, and they help to allow your body to produce its own natural serotonin, which is your natural, number one, hormone in your body. It regulates everything. Well, that, in fact, then regulates the COX-2 enzyme, which is what the anti-inflammatory drugs are trying to do. It does it all by itself for FREE, free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, what people don't realize, the gut connection to pain, in that when we get hit early and often in our lives with antibiotics, or we take pain-killing drugs, those drugs, ladies and gentlemen, damage the lining of our gastrointestinal tract in an area called tight junctions. Those tight junctions are supposed to prevent elements, including food and drugs and, things we come in contact with through water and through food, from entering into our bloodstream. And when those areas become disturbed in the gut and these things flow into our bloodstream unabated or in some concentrated form that they're not supposed to be there, it creates an inflammatory response throughout the entire body. So you're not going to solve the problem by taking these drugs to reduce the pain. In fact, you add to the problem, because that further dismantles this all-important barrier in the gut that prevents these elements from coming in there that are starting to fire the inflammatory response in the first place. In fact, it's paradoxical. We know this. We know that people who take drugs for arthritis over time will have arthritis. This also holds true for headaches. Everybody knows if you take a headache drug long enough, you'll get a headache from the very drug. It's called a rebound headache. This is well known within pharmacy, and I didn't realize that Larry's family members were pharmacists and doctors, medical doctors and physicians. So he is born out of a family that was, within that arena. And here we are, full circle back to nature, and how the elements have been scientifically proven that no, you don't have to worry about drinking a glass of Noni juice and having your body become numb from your follicles in your hair to your teeth and all the way to your feet. It may take some time, Larry, right? It's not going to happen over in 20 minutes like drugs are purported to work on.
Well, no, it won't happen overnight, although I will tell you, there are people who will tell me that they started to drink it and felt better immediately. Was it completely resolved? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I do remember there was a gal who called into the show some time ago, a gal named Anki, I believe, who did have some really amazing results from her low back problems that had been persistent for years and years. She had been on ibuprofen and all kind of other drugs and said this was the solution for her.
All right, I'm going to try to find that clip. We're going to maybe play that, hopefully coming out of this break. Daniel, stand by for that. If you can find that clip of Anki, maybe, the testimonial. We'll come back. Stay tuned. I'm Dr. Bob Martin. Cold and flu season is here, and my listeners want to know how to boost their immune systems and stay healthy. Dr. Bob Martin here. Yes, you can boost your immune system and avoid cold and flus when you drink Tahiti Trader's Noni juice. It can help you boost your immune system while helping you heal, balance stress, and release energy. It's the amazing adaptogen.
I'm 86 years old. In a few weeks, I'll be 87. The Noni juice has really did wonderful things for me. It makes me feel good. I don't have no more symptoms of a cold. I never had a cold since 1996. I would say that the Noni juice has done a lot for me, period. The Noni juice gives me a little energy, and I haven't stopped, and I won't stop.
Tahiti Trader Noni Juice is available at GNC, Vitamin Shop, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, and most health food stores. Or call 800-842-5309 or TahitiTrader.com. All right, a special guest, Larry Logsdon. We're talking about in nature providing an amazing exotic fruit called Noni juice, which has scientific principles to lower inflammatory response in the human body so that people don't have to rely upon pharmaceutical drugs, which do just the opposite over the long haul. They actually add to their problem, not help with their problem. In fact, we know that paradoxically, many of these drugs will decrease joint space and interfere with the body's ability to make new cartilage. So they actually cause more of the arthritis, which is the very drug they're taking it for. Now, Larry alluded to a person who had called into this radio show who'd had some incredible results with taking Noni juice, Tahiti Trader Noni juice, and I thought we would go ahead and play that for you now. Go.
Good morning, Dr. Martin. You had a show on Noni juice several weeks ago. I just was wondering if I could just share with you experience.
Oh, please do.
I've had lower back pain since 1982 from a car accident, and this past year my back pain had become worse. I woke up every morning with a severe back pain, and my whole body was sore. Well, I only took the Noni juice for 3 days, and on the third day, my back and leg pain was completely gone. It's unbelievable. The juice is fantastic. If it wasn't for you, I would still be in pain.
Well, there you have a stroker calling in. Now, obviously, Tahiti Trader Noni juice is not the panacea, the end-all thing to do. We know, and Larry has pointed it out, we have to combine rest and ice, bracing, eating well, getting sunlight, just chilling out when you have something, but then looking for the reason for the problem that you're having and finding natural ways to help alleviate it and put that on your list of possible things to do to help yourself out naturally. And Tahiti Trader Noni juice is just one of them. Now, Larry, we just have a few seconds left in the show. Are there any potential adverse side effects of a person taking Noni juice?
Well, no, there are no adverse side effects. You're going to feel better. You're going to notice it as soon as you drink it, which is unbelievable, but you'll notice a feeling of well-being come over you, and this is something that's cumulative. Use it over time.
Thank you, Larry, for spending time with us. Hated to cut you off there, but we've got to go. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We've got another hour coming up. Thanks, Larry, for Tahiti Trader Noni juice.
Thank you,
Dr. Bob Martin.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have any comments or any questions, please feel free to make them here below. And if you'd like to give us a call and ask us questions here at the office, call us at 1-800-842-5309. Thank you so much and have yourself a wonderful day.